Hello guys, it's Jim3rd. Today we're doing another Bottleman video, this time a Bottleman ranking video on every single multi-type. So, this is kind of the reasons why I did these videos. I've really been wanting to talk about multi-types for a while now, and finally gonna get the chance to do this. Now, multi-types have to be the hardest to rank, and I think that's why it's most interesting, because what makes a multi-type? Now, there's obviously different things like, well, from Bottleman, you of course had perfect types, which were kind of a mix of every type, or special types, which were kind of like that, but they were also kind of just special. I think multi-types are in a weird spot, because a multi-type could technically just be two types. So, yeah. But it could also be three, and also, I feel like there should be a level of a special type idea taken into account here. So, yeah, if there's like an interesting gimmick, especially if it relates or maybe adds on to a use of multiple other types, then that's worth considering. And also, for the multi-type idea, how well does it use each type? Is it just a slight reference to a type? Or does it actually have some kind of effect? So, with that said, let's go and get into the actual list here. Starting with number 9, the kind of worst multi-type, and that is easily Dual Gold. Dual Gold has to be the worst of the bunch. It is not an interesting Bottleman at all. It's just not. I think there was something about, like, the head, not the head, like the kind of head crest, or whatever you want to call it. It's like the same as, like, Colomar Energy, or like the feet being the same as a Kyakrak 4G. Those are not power control gimmicks. The arms being the same as Aquasport's shield is true, and it actually makes sense because, yeah, the magazine port doesn't have a magazine, but there's a port for it. And also the core has the Gyokrat trigger, again, not really a control gimmick, but you do have rollers. So basically what I'm trying to get at is, this is a speed type. It just is. It has a magazine port and rollers, nothing else notable. It's a speed type at best, and at worst, it just doesn't have a type and is just that bland. So I guess this is a multi-type because I think all types are almost equally as horribly represented here. But then again, there are like enough speed things where it's like, it's kind of a speed type, if you think about it. So this thing overall is just like really stupid, and I don't understand what they're thinking with this thing. I don't like it. So anyway, let's go and move on. Number 8. Bottle Wyvern DX. I don't usually count remakes, but this thing has a unique core, so yes. The, kind of the fusion cores, or multi-type cores, whatever you want to call them, from the, what was it, Random Collection Volume 2, those will all be included here, and this is, in my opinion, the least interesting, because again, it's a speed type. You have kind of the one-handed grip stuff from a speed type, the magazine port, the trigger gimmick, it's all, also, yeah, it's basically just Stop Happy on DX, but it has control type hold parts that is slightly different. Because it actually has a speed type gimmicks, and I guess there's like a reference to a control type, it's basically just a speed type, but again, it's a little bit of a dual gold, so I'll give it a bit of extra credit there. Alright, number 7, very similar, Valhas DX. Okay, Valhas is a weird one. This thing actually does have gimmicks from every type, technically. As a control gimmick, you basically have, well, a barrel port. I guess this can kind of be used as like a bad sight, but it's something to use. For speed gimmicks, has rollers. I guess you can say it shoots faster than normal, but there's no magazine port, so it doesn't really matter. It's something, and then the power gimmick, this uses Ton Satan's parts kind of as like a base for the Bottleman, so the arms and the feet, they have, of course, the kind of boost gimmick from Ton Satan. So it's like power control with like a slight speed reference, I guess. Again, it's something, it's definitely something, but yeah, it's just kind of there. But hey, it at least has some kind of multi-type stuff going on for once. Alright, number 6. Earth Roller DX Blue version. This one, for sure, is a multi-type. No speed references, but it is a control type, of course, with the barrel port and the Earth Roller side-to-side gimmick. But you have the drive strip here on the hold parts. It's a power type for hold parts, so yeah. Basically, it's almost like a control type, or yeah, control type that just shoots harder, I guess, or a power type with a bit of extra control. It's a weird balance, but hey, it does kind of mix two types together pretty effectively, I would say, so I'll give it some credit for that, and I think it's a pretty interesting Bottleman, all things considered. And yeah, I am perfectly fine putting this above some others, but again, there are still a few that I just think are better overall. Number 5, Royal Griffin DX. This needs to be zoomed out, but yeah, Royal Griffin DX, this is a weird one, so you technically have like the barrel and magazine for also like the control hold parts, speed hold parts. I mean, yeah, it mixes control and speed in that regard, but it's kind of awkward. Also, this, I guess, is power if you want to count the vertical core as a power type. In that case, it uses 3, but at the same time, here's the thing. It's just a triple shot. You're not really looking for control or speed elements. It's just a triple shot. So you do have different elements of each type, I guess, that kind of converge into this one Bottleman, but I feel like it doesn't utilize the types in an interesting way. Aside from maybe the magazine, because what this can do is if you have this magazine here, you can basically load it up, and then you, after every shot, instead of reloading 3 cores, you can just reload 2 cores. So I guess the speed stuff has a bit more of an effect. Control stuff, that just doesn't, but yeah, I guess it's like kind of interesting. It's not the craziest, it just kind of, yeah, it uses different types to make a big thing, which is pretty cool, I think. But at the same time, it's hard to, I guess, pick out different types within this Bottleman without looking visually at, oh, there's a magazine or a barrel. When it's performing, you don't, like, if you didn't know, you wouldn't be able to tell, really, so yeah. Hopefully that made any kind of sense, but anyway. Number 4, Dragogena DX. This is probably the weirdest one on this list. As far as control gimmicks go, I guess you have like a nice big grip and you use these horns up here as like a sight, kind of. Speed gimmicks, server wing, you can have extra caps sitting here. I guess that's something. Power, it literally shoots 4 caps at once. Obviously that's more of a power thing. This one's kind of like Royal Griffin in the sense that like you don't really pick out certain types, but I think this thing is just such a weird Bottleman that it kind of just works. Like, you're not gonna just assume it's one type, I feel like. I mean, yeah, you can assume maybe power, but it still just feels interesting enough. There's enough control, enough speed ideas in the mix here to where I'm like, yeah, this is probably a multi-type, and it definitely leans more into that special type compared to anything else here, but I just think it works well, and does what it wants to do. And again, I feel like it's something that easily can be assumed as a multi-type. Again, hopefully this will make sense. Royal Griffin and Dragogena were really hard to rank. Again, multi-types are just hard to rank in general, but these two in particular, man, they were hard. But yeah, I guess this one, number 4, gets pretty close to being higher up, but just not quite. I think the other ones have a little bit more to them in the, again, within the definition of a multi-type. Number 3, Blend Dragon. Oh boy. So Blend Dragon, yeah, this has a double shot, which is very much a power gimmick. The metal caps, also kind of a power gimmick. You have the speed caps, with like kind of a speed gimmick, and then also the magazine, which has technically a non-cap capacity. Again, kind of referencing speed stuff there. And also, this thing's just kind of giant, and has like kind of the metal weighting on the back here as like a grip. I know that it is technically a fusion of a power and speed type, but I always just felt as if they both, especially Fusion Black, had some control elements to them. So when they come together, I feel like they're emphasized a bit more in that regard. So there's kind of a level of control stuff that comes up, in my opinion, at least I think. It's very awkward, but yeah. I do think that there is kind of just a level of control with these. And obviously a mix of power and speed. I think this thing just does very well. all things considered, and is a good multi-type, for sure. Alright, number 2. Aerosider DX Red version. This guy. This is a funny one. As far as control gimmicks go, you have this grip here. You could kind of disassemble it into, of course, different things. You obviously have the grip, the stabilizer, the barrel. All of those are there. Also, this horn is kind of a sight. So you have the control gimmicks kind of on the armor and stuff. The core houses the speed and power gimmicks. Power gimmick being the drive strip on the hold parts, so you have power strip hold parts, and also a magazine port, so you have the cap capacity of a speed type, the hold parts of a power type, and everything else of a control type. I kind of think that's sort of perfect. Very good definition of a perfect type right there. It just does everything you could possibly want it to do. At least almost. Yeah, it just works well, I think. The only thing you could reasonably add on is like a barrel port, but even then it has like a barrel mode, which, yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like, it just works, you know what I mean? Like, it just does everything well with each type, and I think that's why it's such a high up spot for a multi-type. It does get beat up by one thing. So what is number 1? Of course, it is, Kokoryu OG. I think this is the best multi-type based on the definition of a multi-type. Did I ever mention that this isn't based on how good these are? I hope I did. If not, hopefully that became obvious throughout the video anyway. So you have arms. They have their own gimmick, but you also have like these power type arms to put on, which increase tension of the hold part. Obviously a power gimmick. These don't, but hey, they have nice grips. Kind of a control-esque thing. Cool. Also power type hold parts. A barrel port and a magazine port. It is a perfect core. It has its own barrel and magazine as well. So with that, you have power, speed, and control all mixed into one. An even better core than Aerosiders, by definition, right? And yeah, I think it just fits kind of the multi-type idea, because that what adds on even more is because, again, I mentioned kind of a special idea, like the special type idea, which works well with this, because you have like the mini cap shooters chilling here. I mean, you can turn out the arms, which would get rid of this for the power type arms, but still, like, the fact that you already have a kind of a perfect type with also a special type idea with like an extra piece that doesn't really fit into anything else, I feel like it's the best multi-type, because you have both perfect types and special types, I think, represented very well here. And it's just a multi-type, in my opinion, under like every definition possible. And I think that's what really, really works so well about Kokoryu OG, and why I think it is the best multi-type. Now you can of course argue on how good it is, or also on the quality control. I've talked about that a few times now. It's not very good, but anyway. Yeah, so anyway, there you go. In case you are wondering, I do have videos up on all of these for unboxings. I also have, like the prototype and DX lines ranked. Don't have anything for Godcat, but I do have a Kokoryu OG unboxing if you want to know more about it. Plus a discussion all about the quality control issues. But anyway, that's all for this video. That's all for this series. That was me ranking every single Bottleman based on type. While we were kind of just in this weird break from Bottleman. So yeah. My next video, I don't know if it'll be a discussion or an unboxing, but regardless, hopefully we get some new stuff. An unboxing would be preferable, but if I have a good discussion idea, I will make that. So anyway, that's all for this video, so yeah, thanks for watching, and bye-bye.